Hey guys, it's Deborah Robinson, aka Lily Rose, and I'm back at home again. Guys, you got to get me out of this house. I don't know. Anyway, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about authenticity and how to look at fashion and, to give it your own look, the own way you want to look. But I want to tell you again about my background so that you understand that I'm not just out here talking about fashion. I spent my life in fashion. I came from a small town in Kentucky, as I think I've told you in the past, and I went straight to New York to seek my fortune. New York was good to me and I was good to it. And one of the things I learned is, I had to start out as what they called a fashion assistant in a very big corporation. And basically, you know what that consisted of? That consisted of getting people coffee. I did a lot of coffee runs. I also did a lot of going into the fashion director of the corporate store, and she would tell me to go pull this, pull that, keep on pulling. I would pull things, and then all she would do would look at me and go, no, and I would have to go back and do it again. So I got a lot of exercise, and that's how I stayed so thin. Then I moved on. Luckily enough, I got the fashion coordinator's position. Then I moved on and on through the fashion business, and that's how you learn, and that's how you make it in the real fashion industry. Now, on social media, we can do a lot of things, and I applaud all the young girls that are working hard to be fashion brands, and to work for fashion brands. But one thing that's still important is having some background in the industry and understanding what to keep and what not to keep. Going from fashion coordinator, then fashion director, I moved to be the fashion director of the largest jewelry company in the world. And doing that really propelled, and I think it was luck, timing, a lot of things like that made that happen. And I was lucky enough by being the spokesperson for some very big firms over the years. This was a long time ago, but I worked for Omega Watch Corporation. I did their United States Open tennis fashion show. I did many big fashion shows around the country. So I learned a lot from that, but I was also a spokesperson for them. So I did a lot of television, which luckily enough, it morphed into me getting on all the major stations in the country and starting a career as a fashion and a lifestyle expert. And so doing that, I had so many funny and different situations, but one that I found the funniest. I was representing at one point for a couple of years, they were opening stores. And so they were opening over 1,000 stores around the country. They had over 1,000 stores. They were opening more stores. And it happened to be for a petite company, for one that dealt in petite clothing. Much to my surprise, I wasn't really petite, but I, kind of lied, 5'4", but their limit was 5'3". So I would always have to put on bigger sizes, then pin them up and try to get them to make me look even more petite. Okay, so I would go in, I would leave every Wednesday. I left every Wednesday. Now think about what kind of a lifestyle this was. It wasn't easy. I was on the air and in the air, meaning on a plane, getting off. I would that day go straight to wherever the store was. At that time, it was all mall stores mostly. And I would go in, I would hire that day models for the show. Then I'd have 14 assistants coming in and start, not 14, but really about 5 or 6. We all exaggerate at times. They would all come in and we would put the show together within, that night. But between Wednesday and Thursday, we put the show together. Then I would go and be on either the local shows, other shows. I was on all kinds of cable network shows and the Today Show, all different shows. Whatever the case may be, this particular one, the president of the company comes to the fashion show and the ribbon cutting for this store. And of course, he comes over and it just so happens, wouldn't you know, he was short. I mean, short. Okay, well, I was a little taller than him, which was not good. And he comes over to me and says, are you sure you're petite? Now, I'm not sure whether this had to do with his ego or the truth of the matter. But whatever the case may be, I said, oh, absolutely, I'm petite. I'm so petite. I said, it's hard for me to find clothes. I'm so glad I have your store. And he said, oh, okay. And he kind of gave me a look, and I'm thinking, oh boy, I may get fired on this one. But luckily enough, I did not. And my career propelled itself. And I have to be honest, as I said, I have not always been to thine own self be true. I met my husband right when I was getting to have my own show in fashion. Actually, my husband was a Fortune 200 CEO, president of one of the largest, well, 200 stores not stores, a brand that was everywhere, all over the world. And he had also been with the 16th largest company in the world, which I will, as the CFO. I'll tell you about that at another time. But he came along and, well, as we girls do, I fell for it then. I fell for him. He wanted me to travel the world with him. And I'll tell you, the one thing, even though I, at that time, quit working, I did minimal work, was I did get to see the emerging markets of the country. One of the most interesting things I have ever done. I was able to go all over the world with him and see so many things, so many different styles, so many cultures, and it was one of the most interesting times in my life. So I do not regret that, but I'm just saying the authenticity of understanding the fashion business, and I'm talking about legacy TV. So I want to share all that with you. I also want to share with you that, as I have on right here, the old skinny jean. Well, don't let anybody tell you, if you like skinny jeans, I don't care what kind you like, if you like them, wear them. But the skinny jean is never going away. It's iconic, it will be with us forever. And so don't let anybody tell you that you have to swaddle yourself in a pair of jeans that don't fit you. And particularly if you're thin enough to wear them. Now, if you're not, wear a great other jean you love, but don't buy into that these aren't around. And also I wanted to show you, this is good old Ralph Lauren again, and his blazer, Yves Saint Laurent shirt, and jeans polo. And my shoes, now I gotta show you these shoes, kids. These shoes, I bought these shoes in New York, and it was at a show, and they were the 50th anniversary of Ralph Lauren. And at the time, I knew I should buy more than one pair, but there weren't many. And so, as you can see, it has, I think, what is a salamander on it in 50th anniversary. And I get so many compliments on, but hey guys, you know what's happening here? I've worn these shoes so much that I have a big rip in the shoe. So you know what I'm going to do? Because I love them so much, and that's when I tell you when you love something so much, I'm going to have them go and sew a piece of velvet in. And I think it's going to be red. I don't know what that's going to mean, but I'm going to have them fixed. So that's just a little background of where I've been, what I've done, and I want to share all this with you, and I'd like to know anything you'd like to know about the fashion industry, the beauty industry, and getting into television, which many of you are doing, and I congratulate you with social media, and that's a great way to do it. Next time we're going to talk about scarves, and this is one example. Now this is a Cartier scarf, and what I love about it is it's beautiful blue color, and I have tons more to show you. But one thing I wanted to say, it's a big trend that's hot right now, is, you know, you don't have to buy Cartier, you don't have to buy Hermes, even though I'm going to tell you that's what I'm buying, because I love it and because I've worked hard to make it here along with my husband, I have to admit, late husband. And so that's going to be our next little session, and that's it, kids. That's all I got for today.